Hi, my name's Ian and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to look at photo stacking and I'm going to use it on flowers. I'll show you all the settings that I use and we'll work through the complete process and then we'll have a look at the results. Have you ever photographed a flower close up and found you just can't get the whole flower sharp? You focus the front but the back is soft. You focus on the back and the front is soft. Well, the Olympus OM-1 Mark II has a really useful feature that can solve this problem. It's called photo stacking. And in this video, I'm going to share and show exactly how I use it, from setting up the camera to taking photographs and getting the final image. For this photograph, I'm using the Olympus OM-1 Mark II with a macro lens and a tripod. The tripod isn't absolutely essential in every situation, but for this type of photography I like to keep everything as still as possible. For the first thing I'm going to do is get the composition right. I'm not worried about focus stacking yet. I just want to get the flower exactly where I want it in the frame. For this example, I'm going to keep things quite simple. I'm using a manual exposure and I'm going to start off at f8. I'm keeping the ISO as low as practical and I'll choose a shutter speed that gives me the good exposure while I keep the movement under control. These aren't magical settings. So now we're going to look at settings on the Olympus OM-1 Mark II. But they're very similar on all the Olympus cameras, but you would need to look at the manual. So to start off with, you press the menu button at the top and you want to scroll till you see camera 1, camera 2. You want to be on camera 2. Then if you go down, you see focus stacking is off. If you press OK, and then you've got a list here, so you can do your settings, and to set the photo stacking on you press OK and then go down to on, press OK again. Then we move on to the number of shots. Now that's the number of shots that you're going to take for one particular photograph, so it's like slices through what you're photographing. So 3 will just be front, middle and back, and then if you can increase it, you can increase it up to 15, or you can go down to 3, but for this, for a flower, I'm going to do 12 and then just press OK. Then the next thing is set focus differential, and that's set on 8. Click on it and click OK. And it's got wide at the top, which is 10, and at the bottom you can go down to 1, which is narrow. And as it says, wide is each of the photographs, the gap between each photograph is larger on the wide as opposed to the narrow. So the smaller the subject, the narrower you want to be. And for a plant, I would probably set it around about 3, 4, let's say 3, and give that a go, and you can experiment with that. So click OK, and then you've got charge time, and we're not using flash, this is for flash. If you're using Olympus flashes, you don't need to set anything. If you're using a third-party flash, then it depends how quick it charges as to how long you need to set this, but quite often you don't need to change it at all. Then you press OK, and we don't want charge time, and then hit the menu button and we're out of it. So all we've got to do now is frame up our shot and take it. So once you've found a flower and you're happy with the composition and you've got the exposure right, you've done the settings for the photo stacking, all you need to do is press the trigger. And then we can look at the picture. Here it is. And we can, you can see that's pretty sharp. So if you're happy with that, you're okay. But what I always do is to take slightly different exposures. So you can see which is the best when you're looking at the original. So that press half the picture, half the shutter to focus, and then there is some movement. You see the wind is just blowing the flower, so just wait for it to stop. If we do it now, we'll see how blurred that comes out, and you can see the problem if you do it on a windy day. Let's look at what the camera has just done. This is the first photograph from the front of the flower is sharp. Here's one from the middle of the sequence, and here's one towards the end. You can see the area of sharp focus has moved throughout the flower. I have put a diagram together that shows it more clearly. You might want to pause at this stage so you can look at the detail. And here's our final result. Now look at the front of the flower, the middle and the back. We've got much more of the flower in focus. And that's why I really like focus stacking. So that's how I use focus stacking on my OM-1 Mark II. As you can see, it makes a big difference when you're photographing flowers and other close-up subjects. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next week.